Well, hey, thanks for letting us share this with you. My name's Howard. This is my wife, Michaela. They say that everything gets made in China, and I'll prove that that's true. I'm a Canadian boy who moved to Hong Kong. She's a German girl who moved to Hong Kong. We found each other. We got married there. And so our marriage was made in Hong Kong, and we since then have been able to travel the world and do a lot of things. We moved here to Vancouver a number of years ago and now call this our home. But we've got a pretty remarkable story. We have many remarkable stories, but we just don't have the time to tell them. But this, I think, is very significant for tonight. So, Michaela is a little bit, she's a little bit microphone shy. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to use her as show and tell. And if she feels like she has something she wants to add in, she's got a mic here, but she's asked if I would tell the story. But Michaela is German, and we go to Europe every summer because her family is very important. She's the only one that's moved abroad. All her family is there. So every summer we go to Germany, and we've been doing this for, I don't know, the better part of 20 years. And I guess this is about 6 years ago now? Yeah, 6 years ago in the end of August, so exactly 6 years ago, almost today. We went to Germany. Typically we'll go for a couple of weeks, and we'll fly there together, and we'll fly home together. And this particular summer, Michaela just really felt it strongly in her heart that she needed to spend some extra time with her mom. So I booked my flight for 2 weeks, and she booked hers for 3, so we flew together. And then at the end of week 2, I flew home, and she was booked on the exact same flight the following Monday. I flew home. I had some client work. I was working with a client, so I landed on Monday night. I was with a client Tuesday. And her father is very stoic, and he's not alarmist. There's nothing sensational about him. He's just a strong, stoic kind of guy. And he's German. He's full-on German. And I'm sitting on our deck in Vancouver, and the phone rings, and it's her father. He says, "You come, not good. You come, not good." He would never say it. I've never heard him say anything. Like, that's about the most alarming thing I've ever heard come out of this guy's mouth. And so I don't know what it means. Wife's sick, you come, not good. Wife's sick, you come, not good. What does this mean? So I start calling her sister, her brother, her sister-in-laws, and I can't get a hold of any of them. And I'm working with a client the next morning, and then finally the email starts coming, my phone starts to ring, and her brother calls and says, your wife's in the hospital, she's got tumors all over her body, she's got brain damage, she's on life support, you got to come back. I said, what are you talking about? And I just saw her yesterday. So I don't really know what any of this means, because in broken German English, I'm trying to make sense of all of this, but I know that she's not answering her phone. Her father has got this alarm in his voice that I've never heard before, and her brother, who I'm really good friends with, is like, this is really serious, you gotta get back here. So I don't know what I'm in for, so I book flights, and by the time I can get out, I finally get a flight out on the Friday night, I land Saturday sometime, get to the hospital, and so apparently what had happened, I left on the Monday. Tuesday morning, Michaela was in walking through the, most of these European towns have a pedestrian zone where the shopping is. She's in there buying a pair of jeans. And she suffered, we don't know how many, but the doctors tell us she suffered not less than 5 massive back-to-back strokes. And they found her in her, and listen, the story on this, how they actually got in to pull her out of that hotel room, that's another story in itself, but you can see God's hand across this whole thing. So anyway, they get her in the ambulance, they pull her up to the hospital. By the time I get there, now it's 5 days since I've seen her. I land in Frankfurt. I drive 2 hours to this hospital. I get there. I walk into the hotel, into the hospital room. I don't even recognize my own wife. She's lost so much body weight. Her face is completely disfigured. She's paralyzed from the neck down, and the only way she can communicate with me is through tears. She can only cry. She can't speak. She can't move. She can't eat. She can't drink. And she's like literally withered away to nothing. Like I've been with her 20 years and I don't recognize her. It's like, it's that bad. And I was like, whoa, whoa. So the only thing, I just get on my knees and I just start praying. I said, Lord, there's no way you put us together like this. I don't accept this. You don't take her. You can't have her. Well, you can have her. And I got down on my knees and I just began to pray. I said, all right, okay, I'm going to make a deal with you. I said, she was yours before she was ever mine. So if you take her, I promise you I won't begrudge you, I won't hate you, I'll continue to serve you the rest of my life, but I'm begging you not to do this. I'm begging you not to do this. But now I get a sense of how severe this is, so I get a hold of all of every Christian friend that I know. I get a hold of our prayer team, I get a hold of our life group, I get a hold of our church, And I just know that there's this prayer circle that is formed around the globe. People in Hong Kong, people in Australia, people in Canada, people in the States, people in Europe. We got people praying for it like 24/7. We're there about a week, and it's really not good. She's not making a whole lot of progress, and I'm just like, okay, God, I don't know. We're both self-employed. I think the new job that you give me is to care for her. You need to take care. I don't know how we're going to pay these bills. I don't know how we're going to do anything. And I said, God, you said you're my provider. You will be our provision. You will be our. You said you are Jehovah Rapha. You're the God who heals. You are Jehovah Nissi. You're the one who covers us. You are our provider. Right? So I just began proclaiming the words that I had learned over the years that I maybe didn't even know that I knew. And I just started claiming this. And I said, God, I'm broke. I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. We're in a private hospital in Germany. We're both self-employed. I don't have benefits. I don't have a salary. I don't have anything. And I started praying that. And I'm not kidding you. I'm not even exaggerating this. 5 minutes later, my phone rang, and it was the Vice President of Sales for the Royal Bank of Canada in Toronto, and I've never met him. He said, word on the street is, you're a motivational speaker, and you know a thing or two about selling. And I said, yeah. He said, we also hear that you're very good at teaching and training and all. I said, yeah. He says, we got a conference coming up in October. We'd like to hire you. What's it going to take? And I said, well, I've got a family emergency in Germany right now, and I can guarantee you, I put the date on my calendar, but I don't know how we're going to, because normally you got to send proposals, and there's contracts, and you got to sign it, there's all this. He said, well, what do you got to do? I said, here's the fee. If you send me a 50% deposit, I'll put the date on my calendar, and I won't miss it. This is the Royal Bank of Canada. It's a Fortune 5. I've never met him. They do everything by legal contract. The guy wired me 50% of my fee the following morning. Like, that just never happened. There's only one way that happens. That's called favor. That's called grace. But I'm still being like, I still got my wife in the hospital. She's still on life support because she's hooked up to tubes and machines and all kinds of stuff. And I said, all right, God, what are we going to do here? And I went home, and I was bringing her dinners and lunches and breakfast because I wouldn't let her eat hospital food. And the next morning I came in, and just to make a story, the doctor was in talking to another patient, so they wouldn't let me in the room. You got to understand that yesterday she's paralyzed with neck down. I'm standing out in the hallway. I'm out there about 45 minutes. They won't let me in the room to see her. And I see the door open, and I think it's the doctor coming out and says, you can go in now. And it's her. She walked from her bed to the front door. I said, what are you doing? You can't do this. And she says, well, if they won't let you in, I'm coming to you. Now, it wasn't pretty, and it didn't last long. She had about 20 seconds of steam in her, but yesterday she couldn't even pick up a fork. Okay? She walks to the door. Right? Isn't that true? Did this happen or not happen? Did this happen? So anyway, the doctor said, well, we can't let her out of here yet. I mean, listen, she's really weak. She still has a lot of brain damage. She had a lot of brain damage. I mean, basically what happens when you have a stroke, the aneurysm go off in the brain and it causes all kinds of brain damage. They did all kinds of MRIs and all kinds of things. We never got to see this. And so I start negotiating with okay, we got to get you home. So we got a surgeon, a very well-placed surgeon in Vancouver, and I called him. I said, listen, I'm going to try to get her airlifted out of Germany so we can get her into the Canadian system. I said, because all this happened in Germany, they don't have any of her medical records here. Can you make some phone calls and get her into the system so that when we land in Vancouver, I can get her into care? And I can tell you, so we booked the flights. To go from the check-in to the gate, it took us about 4 hours to make that walk. We'd walk 20 feet, we'd sit for 20 minutes, we'd walk 20 feet. So she was really weak. It was hard. It was really hard. So she was clearly still very sick. We got here to Vancouver. We get an appointment. We ended up getting the chief of the neurology unit for the whole Greater Vancouver district, one of the top researchers in Canada. And she says to us, we walk into her office that morning. She says, and it's just like this. She says, I need to tell you something. She says, I get the toughest cases in the whole Vancouver area. And so the fact that you're in my office needs to tell you something. So yeah, we get it. We know this is serious. And that she was still slurring, and still her face was sideways, and so all the classic signs of heavy stroke. And then she says, I need to tell you something else. She says, most of my patients will have 2 or 3 major scars on their brain, and they may never speak, and they may never walk again. Probably won't. She says, I now need to show you your MRI. She says, you don't have 2 or 3 scars on your brain, you have hundreds of them. She says, you see all these things that look like snowflakes, and you see all these things that look like ridges and ski hills? Those are all scars on your brain. There are so many of them, I can't explain how it is that you walked in here. I can't explain how you walked into my office, and I can't explain how it is you're even able to form a word. And I looked at the doctor. I said, I know you're a great doctor, and I know you can't explain this, but let me tell you something. I know you're a great doctor, but you and I both know that you didn't do this. I can explain it. And I said, we're Christians. I've had thousands of people around the world praying for her. And the doctor looked at me and said, that's the only thing that can explain what we're looking at. I want to encourage you with this. I don't know whether strokes or cancer or emotional healing or breakage. Listen, we got countless stories, and we're not going to give them all to you tonight. But God loves you, and He wants to touch you. And I don't want to put out any kind of false hope. That's not what this is about. I've seen way too many things to not believe what I believe, because we got the evidence because we first believed, and because we believed, we then got more evidence. And so we're just here to share that with you. God loves you. There's a reason why you're here tonight. It could be emotional healing, financial healing, physical healing. When I met Warren was in a hospital room. He told part of that story. He was in a coma. And I literally just grabbed him by the hand. I said, in the name of Jesus Christ, you will be healed. And Warren, I also believe your complete restoration is coming to you. And with that, I'm just going to say thank you for listening. After the strokes, cancer came and took a run at her. We beat cancer. And after the cancer, we actually had dinner at his house one night. Thanksgiving, 5 years ago. We went to bed. Everything was fine. Went to bed. And she had a complete spinal collapse. She was paralyzed from the neck down. And God totally restored her spinal cord as well. She's 3 miracles in a row. And you want to come and talk to us, you want to hear a story, come and talk to us. I just want to encourage you. He won't just leave you there. He just won't leave you there. He just wants you to open your heart and receive what He's got for you. And if you're willing to do that, He's willing to come down and touch you. And I'll just finish there.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Michaela. By the way, do yourself a favor and sometime this weekend, also look up Meet the Howard Olsen You Didn't Know. Just Google that, you'll hear another amazing story. Well, listen, I would now like to introduce the Tom Chin Club. Pastor Tom Chin. Listen, this gentleman is a very, very successful businessman. He's a husband, he's a father. He's so modest and so fun. His favorite expression is 100%. He doesn't even want me to introduce you right now. He's standing. I said, let's get at it. Listen, he's going to tell you about an encounter he had with God. And since that encounter, he has been traveling the world, and God has been using him for amazing things. So please give Pastor Tom Chin a warm welcome.
Hallelujah.